It started just after midnight, a hum, then static, then something else. A broadcast, but not like anything they had heard before. The voice came in clear, steady, calm, but speaking in a language no one recognized, not Russian, not Chinese, not anything known. Shortwave operators listened in silence, trying to record, trying to trace it, but the frequency was unstable, shifting slightly, fading in and out, like it was never meant to stay. The message repeated once, then stopped, replaced by a tone sharp, loud-like, a warning buried in sound. After that silence, no call sign, no station ID, no signature. Nothing. The frequency was blank. Some believed it was a tester, numbers station glitch or a distorted satellite relay, but no logs matched the frequency, and no country claimed responsibility. Those who recorded the broadcast began sharing it online, asking if anyone could identify the language or decode the pattern. No one could, and then something strange happened. Those who listened reported similar dreams, not images, but feelings, cold air pressure, and something watching. Someone called it a transmission. Someone else called it a bleed. But everyone agreed on one thing. This was not meant to be heard. Not by us, not now, maybe not ever. The first full recording came from a ham operator in Finland. He had tuned in by accident, searching for weather updates. When the signal took over his feed, he hit record without thinking. Later, he played it back again and again, and realized he had captured something that did not belong to any known system. The voice spoke for 19 seconds, then cut out, then returned for 9 more, always in the same tone, not human, but not mechanical either. No breathing, no hesitation, each syllable placed with perfect spacing. He sent the clip to experts, to linguists, to pattern analysts, but no one could place the language. Some said it resembled Proto-Basque. Others thought it shared traits with Sumerian. A few claimed it was not a language at all, but a sequence, a kind of vocal code. Every theory hit a wall. The tones that followed the voice were more disturbing. A deep pulse interrupted by sharp pings, then a steady climb in frequency as if building towards something. The final section was a harmonic, 4 notes, repeating, but not in any known musical scale. It gave listeners a strange sensation, pressure in the ears, tightness in the chest, a feeling of being observed. The full recording, when uploaded, triggered automatic content flags, not for copyright, but for classified data screening. Some platforms removed it within minutes, others allowed only edited versions in forums. Listeners began compiling reports. Headaches, dreams of empty rooms, a feeling of being lost in places they knew well. A sound engineer from Germany ran the signal through a spectrograph and found something strange. The visual pattern of the tone contained shapes, intersections, almost like writing, not letters, but something close, as if the signal was speaking in sound and shape at the same time. Another anomaly was discovered in the background. Noise under the voice. Beneath the static was something deeper. A subharmonic texture, not audible to most ears, but measurable when isolated. It formed a pattern, a cycle that did not match the timing of Earth's rotation or any known time base. It pulsed every 17.4 seconds, then paused, then started again. One researcher described it as an echo, not from the signal itself, but from where the signal had bounced off, and that said was the most disturbing part, because whatever sent the signal, whatever received it, was not here. Once the recording began circulating, radio enthusiasts from around the world began listening, hoping to catch the signal live, hoping to trace its origin. They triangulated frequencies, matched time codes, calculated signal delay. The early consensus placed the source somewhere near the Arctic Circle. northwest of Svalbard, an uninhabited stretch of ice and rock. But when they set up monitoring stations, nothing came. The signal, which had played multiple times in a single week, stopped completely, as if it had been heard, as if it no longer needed to repeat. Others believed it came from above, a satellite malfunction, a test from a high-altitude balloon, but no satellite logs matched the time or location, and no military agency claimed responsibility. One astronomer noted that the signal's modulation had a delay curve consistent with deep space transmissions, like those from distant probes, but it lacked the signature bounce of atmospheric re-entry. This was not a signal returning, it was a signal passing through in Japan. A team of amateur SETI researchers picked up a secondary version of the broadcast on a different frequency. 8 days later, this version was shorter, missing the final tones and distorted by what they described as atmospheric compression. When they attempted to clean the audio, they found layers, a second voice buried beneath the first, out of phase, but identical in rhythms. If two versions of the same message were playing, one just behind the other, the researchers called it an interference shadow, a kind of echo, but not natural. Whatever sent the signal was broadcasting, not just through space, but through time. Or through something else. A group in Australia tried to locate the signal using high-frequency directional arrays, normally used to track aircraft radar and submarine pings. They recorded 3 brief spikes, each lasting less than 2 seconds. The signal direction pointed to the Indian Ocean, but there was no relay station, no tower, no satellite overhead. The location was wrong, too remote, too deep, as if the signal came from nowhere or from somewhere we do not yet understand. A former communications officer from a European defense agency reviewed the logs. His conclusion was simple. This was not a transmission error. This was a message that was heard, intercepted by accident. And it was never meant for us. This was not the first time a signal with no origin and no explanation broke through the static. In 1965, a Norwegian fisherman recorded an unknown broadcast while scanning for emergency beacons off the coast. The message lasted 14 seconds. A woman's voice, calm, measured, speaking words no one could translate. 3 other ships in the area reported the same thing, but none captured it on tape. The signal never repeated. In 1982, a Soviet listening post near the Ural Mountains intercepted a transmission on a closed military channel. It was classified for decades, but recently leaked reports describe it as non-terrestrial in structure, containing harmonic frequencies inconsistent with any known language or code. The signal ended with a tone that caused minor equipment failure in 2 monitoring stations. No source was ever found. In 2004, an airline pilot flying over the North Pacific reported interference in the cockpit. Radio, the co-pilot noted. The voice sounded like it was speaking directly to them. Neither could understand it. Flight data recorders captured a short segment. The voice had no human inflection, no emotion. It spoke in a cadence similar to speech. The airline's internal report listed the event as electromagnetic anomaly, but the tape was quietly removed from archive. Its current location is unknown. Shortwave enthusiasts call these ghost signals transmissions with no pattern, no identification, and no clear origin. They appear, they vanish, and they leave no trace, except in the recordings and the people who hear them. Some of these broadcasts share details with the midnight signal, a known language, harmonic structures, emotional impact. Listeners report headaches, pressure behind the eyes, and a lingering sense that something is unfinished or waiting. In one case from 2017, a researcher in Peru recorded a 30-second loop broadcast every night at the same time for 3 weeks. It ended abruptly on the night of a regional blackout and was never heard again. The final transmission included a new sound, something never identified, a rhythm like breathing, but mechanical, cold, steady. The researcher never published the recording, but wrote in her notes, "This is not a call. This is a reply." Some believe the signal was a military tester, a coded transmission meant for submarines or deep surveillance equipment, but the tone, the language, the structure did not match any known encryption patterns. And no country has claimed responsibility. Others say it was a glitch, a rogue signal from an abandoned satellite, bouncing between layers of the ionosphere, twisting and warping into something unrecognizable. But if that were true, why the repetition? Why the structure? Why the emotional impact reported by so many listeners? Static does not give people the same dream. Some call it a leak, a bleed through from another channel, another reality, another version of us. The idea that two worlds briefly overlap, and in that moment a signal slips through, not meant to be heard, not by us, not yet. A fringe theory suggests the signal is a time echo, a message sent from the future, looped back through some fracture in space-time, received accidentally by equipment not designed to catch it. The timing, the fading, the harmonic structure, some say, matches predictions from theoretical time-based quantum models, but there is no way to test it. Another theory, and perhaps the most unsettling, is that the signal was a reply, not from us, but to us, not meant for human ears, but intercepted along the way, a response to something that was sent years ago or centuries ago, or perhaps something that hasn't been sent yet, and when we heard it, we became part of it. Those who study anomalies say signals like this are not random. They are layered, intentional, coded in ways we are not prepared to decode. The voice is just the surface, the tone, the shape, the pacing, air where the message truly lives, and the message, if we ever understand, it may not be comforting. A radio technician who spent months analyzing the original recordings said something he never published. He said it felt like the signal was not trying to tell us something, but trying to find something, listening for something on our end, and when it didn't find it, it stopped. The signal has not returned, not on any known frequency, not in any recorded form, but some still listen, late at night alone, tuning through static, hoping to hear it again. They call it the ghost band, a stretch of frequencies where nothing should exist, but where something once died. Every few months, someone claims to catch a piece of it, a tonia whisper, a pulse that sounds just familiar enough to believe, but no proof ever follows. Only fragments, only stories. The original recording has been copied, analyzed, scrubbed, and shared, but never fully understood. Some versions differ slightly, as if the file itself is changing, or as if what people remember is no longer what was heard. A museum of anomalies in Prague once featured the broadcast as part of an exhibit. They removed it after guests complained of dizziness, disorientation, and strange dreams. One visitor, an audio engineer, left a note in the guest book that simply read, "We should not be listening to this." The man who recorded the first signal in Finland no longer speaks about it. He deleted his blog, erased his uploads, and refused all interview requests. His last message on record was a comment on a forum. It read, "We opened something we didn't mean to, but now it knows how to reach us." Some say it was nothing, just noise, just signal decay, an anomaly without meaning, but others believe it was real, not just the message, but the moment, a moment when something crossed over, not permanently, but just long enough to leave a mark, and that maybe if we listen at the right time, on the right night, it will speak again. Some believe it was a warning. Others believe it was an accident, but no one has ever explained how a voice came through the dark, spoke in no known tongue, and vanished without a trace. Whatever the truth, it was heard, and now it cannot be unheard. New mysteries are revealed every week. This is the Midnight Channel, where the strange never sleeps.